Hey Cravers, here we go. Hello. Okay. Am I recording? I'm recording. Hi Cravers, how are you doing? I'm going solo today. It's been a while since I've done that. But I wanted to catch up with you, and I've gotten so many DMs, so many requests, like, Adrian, we want to hear, all about what you've been up to, about your relationship with Mr. Wright and how that's going. And I also wanted to have like a little heart-to-heart with you. Let me start this episode. Okay. Annie M. This unicorn is not in Kansas anymore. And today we're going to talk all about that. And I'm going to be catching up with you. I am solo today. Amanda will be back next week for Ask AA. I know I've been a little bit behind, and I want to have like a heart-to-heart conversation with you. I didn't write anything down purposely. I didn't make any notes because I was like, I just want this to be a conversation between me and my Cravers. Okay. We're coming up on 4 years that I've been doing this show, and I'm really proud of that. But I have to tell you what happened to me earlier this year, with ramifications and implications in my life, and in my career, because of my shows. It was hard, and it was something that really affected me. And I think I'm finally at a place where I have healed, I've overcome it, and it ended up being one of the best things that ever happened to me. However, it has absolutely positively made me more reserved on the show. And I feel like, although I'm being my authentic self, I haven't been sharing everything. I've been very nervous. I've been more scaled back with my storytelling. I know you guys have noticed. I'm getting all of your DMs. I'm seeing your emails. I've seen your responses on the website. And I just want to say, I'm back, right? I've had a lot of conversations with Mr. Wright too, who has been such a big cheerleader in my corner, which has been absolutely amazing. And, he was like, Adrian, fuck it. Like, be proud of who you are. And that's something when I started this show that I wanted to encourage all of you to do as well. And I will say, I had a lot of stuff go on. I felt like it was very traumatic for me, but I'm finally in a place where I feel like I can just move forward. And one of the ways that I want to do that is share with you more openly, be more real. Again, not that I haven't been. It's just I've definitely held back a little bit. And so I'm ready to let it all go, let it all come out. You know how I am. Okay. So again, I didn't write any notes. I just want this to be, a conversation between me and you. And I guess I'll get started by saying, I'm going to tell you about how Mr. Wright and I met. A lot of you have asked, and I have some fun stories to share. And so let's get right into it. I've been single for a really long time, and God, this is tough. It's funny because I can feel myself wanting to hold back right now, but I'm not going to. Okay. I downloaded Hinge. I swear to God, Mr. Wright and I, we met on Hinge. And it was kind of funny because I remember the first thing he said to me, he was like, hey, what are you doing on this day or whatever? And it was the weekend. And I was like, oh, I'm at the pool drinking a high noon. And he was like, me too. And he sent me a selfie with his high noon. And then I sent him a selfie with my high noon. And I was like, that's cool. That's fun. And I don't know, I was instantly super attracted to him. And we actually hopped on the phone, I think the next day, and talked for like an hour and a half. He was very intrigued about like my lifestyle and the things that I was into. And, I told him about the show, and we just had awesome conversation. However, I will say one of the things, and I was hesitant to talk about this, but I'm going to be brave, is he was like just coming out of a relationship. And I was like, timing, whatever. But hey, let's have fun, whatever. So our first date, if you can even call it that, I was at my favorite dive bar, and I actually wasn't even planning on hanging out with him. I think I texted him and I said, hey, if you're around and you want to meet up with me at my, local dive bar with all my other friends, swing by. And he was like, okay. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this guy is just going to show up here. And I mean, that takes balls. So already I was like, I like that. So he came in, and I'll never forget, he came up around my left side, and he was like, hey. And I looked at him, and I was just like, oh, man. Like, I was like, fuck. Like, I was instantly super attracted to him. And he fit right in with me and all my friends, which, by the way, can be very intimidating. And I remember we played a game of drinking Jenga, and there was this block that had a phone number on it, and it was like for a good time call. And he was like, say less. He called the number, a couple picked up, and he's like, hey, listen, if you guys come up here, I'll buy you guys a beer, we can play some Jenga. And they showed up, and we ended up having so much fun with them, playing darts. And I remember it was like the night was getting, it was like 10:30, and I was like, hey, do you want to come over and like have a drink on my porch? I think that's what I said. And he was like, yeah. And then I remember we had our first kiss on my couch, and then it was on like Donkey Kong, okay? Like we had the most incredible first fuck like ever. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, I fucked him on the first date, shit. Cause like, that's not what I usually do, as a unicorn, especially like, you don't fuck on first meets, and you warm things up and see how things go. But no, I mean, it was on. And the next day, I remember he was like getting off at work, and he was like, you're only like 15 minutes away. And so like I could be there. And I sent him like a selfie, and I was laying in bed and like a nightgown, and I was like, well, I'm ready. And he came over again, and we had like another ridiculous session. And we actually had a lot of conversation that night too. I remember just laying in bed with him, just talking about all kinds of stuff. And that's something that's always been a thing with us, is Mr. Wright and I have the most incredible communication. And since then, even looking back now, I'm like, wow, like, I'm not kidding when I say this. We have had intentional conversations. We've had deep conversations. We've had a tough conversation, and I'll tell you about that in a second. And I just feel so close to him. I love how vulnerable he is with me, and I am with him as well. And we just, nothing's, I remember he said to me one time, he was like, Adrienne, not every conversation is going to be fun and exciting. Like, we're going to have tough talks. We've told each other things that we've never told anyone else in the world, and just instantly started getting really close. I feel super close to him now, but I want to bring you back to something, because I do want to say, a lot of cravers reach out to me and talk to me about their relationship or their situationship or something that they're going through with a partner. And a lot of the times I want to just type back and say, he's just not that into you. She's just not the one, right? And it's hard because, and sometimes I do say that, but okay, so here's what happened. So like I said, when I first spoke with him, I knew he was, fresh back into the dating scene, and I'm coming from being single for a long time, and, I'm really looking for something real. I've been craving that. I've talked about it on the show for so long, and it's something that I thought would never happen, right? Like I pretty much had given up hope, actually. You can hear in my episodes about talking about how I'm the Tin Man, I don't have a heart, and a lot of men have called me, icy or an ice queen. I couldn't seem to have feelings, like real feelings, you know what I mean? So anyway, the first couple of weeks that we were together, we got close really fast. It was just easy. And I remember, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I just kind of felt like I was like here, like I was at like a 7 with how I felt about him. And I knew that he was maybe like a 4. And I just one night I had to have a conversation with him. And I said, hey, listen, I feel like you're not on my level. I feel like you're not matching my energy when it comes to like what I'm looking for, which, by the way, totally respect. I have told him this several times. I'm not trying to change him. I respect where he is in his life, and that's perfectly okay. And I said to him, I'm not going to wait around, but if it's meant to be, it'll be. I said, I need to have some space. Let's take some time. It was one of probably the toughest conversations I've had. And it hurt like hell. I remember it felt so weird when he left. And he texted me and he said, thank you for the conversation. And it was like this, and I told him, I said, Mr. Wright, we have so much mutual respect for one another. And that's always going to be there. And I just felt like, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you to waste mine. And I just, again, totally respect where you're coming from. And he was brutally honest with me, and I was with him. And so I let him go. And it hurt like hell. In fact, like the next day, I was not feeling good. I felt like actually sick to my stomach about it. And I remember telling Lauren, I was like, this hurts. Like, I've only known this guy a few short weeks and this fucking hurts. And I knew, like, damn, I have really strong feelings for him. So a couple of days went by. We argue about how long it was. He says 4 days, I say 5. But anyway, and I know you're listening, Mr. Wright, and I think that I'm right. But anyway, so listen, we had been planning this event with my lifestyle group because I told him, I said, hey, like, he was very interested in it, and that's a big part of who I am, and it is something that, like, I would like to see. Now, does it have to be? No, but if it's an opportunity that a partner's interested in as well, you know, as me, more the merrier, let's go, you know. And I would like to explore E&M and the lifestyle with a partner. This is, remember, early on. So I remember I was like, I gotta text them. And I texted him, I said, hey, you know, I hope you've been doing well. Let's talk about this lifestyle event coming up, which, by the way, was a vanilla event. I'll tell you more about our lifestyle, what we've experienced so far. But, you know, I said, let's stick to vanilla events for a while. So it was this concert, right? I said, let's talk about this concert, you know, I think, you know, and I sent him like a GIF, like a funny GIF, because it was Yacht Rock, and I sent him a funny GIF about it. And he texted me right back, and he was like, yo, Adrian, what's up? And he was like, well, strap up, girl, because I have a 4-hour drive home or whatever. And he was like, I'll call you in a little bit. We talked the entire time that he was on his way home. And so what, like, I think 4 hours, just insane. And we talked about everything, and, you know, this conversation is just too easy with him. That's always the way it has been. And I felt good. Like, I was like, you know what? And we both were just like, okay, we're going to set some boundaries. We're going to, you know, just see what happens. And it was funny because he was like, who knocked sense into you? Because, like, you know, you haven't talked to me and you want to take like this break or whatever. And it was funny because my friend Lauren was like, Adrian, what are you doing? Like, and so we both just kind of agreed, like, hey, let's just have fun together, see where it goes. And I was open to that. I was like, you know what? I would rather have more time with him and let's see what happens. Okay. So we go to the week goes by. I'm like sitting here, I'm thinking about how much of a whirlwind this has been. But, and we went to this lifestyle, it was a concert, Yacht Rock concert with all my lifestyle friends. And I was a little nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I've never really brought someone before. I've never, you know, experienced this. And don't get me wrong, Baywatch, he went to a party with me and that was amazing. But Baywatch was, you know, my friends with benefit. And a lot of fun, but not like the level that, you know, I think about Mr. Wright. So anyways, we went to the concert and had a ridiculously fun time. And I got to see, you know, a lot of my favorite couples. And we also had phenomenal, incredible sex. And this was like, I call it the best date ever because this was Saturday. And then Sunday we were coming back and I was like, hey, let's go watch football with Katina and her boyfriend. And, you know, it's like a local pub down the street. And he was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So we went and did that. Lots of sex in between, chicken nuggies, barbecue sauce. Anyways, we went and, you know, he met Katina and, you know, her fam, and we were just having so much fun. And I remember I was sitting at the bar, we were playing one of our favorite games, which is Photo Hunt. And he was like, you're not going to work tomorrow. Like, you're not going to work tomorrow. And I was like, no, I'm going to work tomorrow. And he was like, no, you're not. And so, like, the first time ever, I called out of work and I was like, hey, we're going to stay out. Again, this is like the best date that, like, it was mega weekend. And the next day, we just, like, woke up, went to breakfast, and just had, like, we went and played games together and laid in bed together and had, a, you know, our midday nap and lots of sex. And it was the best date weekend ever, right? And I don't know, we just started hanging out, and, you know, another week went by, and then we're, you know, palling around and doing all these things, and then another week went by, and I'm trying to remember how it came about, but basically he was just like, hey, like, I'm not going to date anyone else. And I was like, well, I'm not going to see it, you know, I'm not seeing or dating anyone else. And we had this conversation, and it was kind of, I don't know, everything's just been like progressing and just moving, and it's just so easy. It's funny because I was telling him, I said, you know, it's been so long since I felt this way about someone. And he like makes me feel alive, you know? I mean, a lot of you have been saying you can see it, like, you know, happiness looks good on you. And I agree. And he just makes me feel really good. And I've shared all of this with him. And we've just been having so much fun, and it's so easy. And I have to tell you, I didn't even think of a time of where I was like, okay, I'm going to let him in. It just happened naturally, easily, and I love that. But really quick, I want to go back to say, when I took this break and I set my standard and had my boundaries, because I know what I want, right? So when we talked about situationships and relationships, or, if you have gray areas, or if you're feeling, like you have confusion in a relationship or whatever you're doing, just know that hold firm to what you believe in. Stay true to your core values. We talked about those so much on the show. And I just want to say, it's worth it. You're worth it. And I was really happy that he was like, okay, like let's meet each other where we could, and we found like this common ground with each other, because it's been a lot of fun. And so I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it, but I told him whatever. It's just been so much fun. And and let me just tell you, like, the sex has just been phenomenal. And having these experiences where he's meeting my lifestyle friends. We've hung out with, we went to a meet and greet, and then we went to another concert with friends and an after party, and just seeing him, easily get involved with my tribe, you know what I mean? And he fits right in, and everyone loves him. And it's been so much fun. And I'm just like, oh, like this is what it should feel like, but I have to tell you something funny. So so it's a little dangerous, and we've talked about this. He is like the male version of me, and together it's a lot of energy, okay? Because I know I'm a lot, and I'm like, and he keeps up with me. And when we're together, it's just like, it's a lot of fucking fun. So anyways, like I said, I've been seeing each other a lot, and any chance I can get to see him, I will, and vice versa. And so one night I was with Katina again, watching football. I'm so happy football's back. And he was like, hey, I'm getting off. I can come swing by. I was like, yeah, come by. And so everybody was leaving, and I was like, let's play some photo hunt. And time just evaporates with him. So we're hanging out, and I think we were watching a video that he took of me on his phone of giving him a blowjob, and I was like, damn, that is really hot, and we were watching it or whatever. Next thing you know, we go out to my car. Car sex, it's not a thing. I'm not a huge fan, but the moment was right here. And so we get in the back of the car, and I'm like riding him, and he's like, Adrian, he's like, we have to stop. Like, the car is rocking. He's like, oh my God, he's like, this is too obvious. So I was like, okay. So we laid down the seats, and then there was all this sand in the back from Virginia Beach because my car is a wreck. And so I'm like kicking like oil containers and air compressors. Oh my God. And we're just like doing all these things. My shoes flying across the car. We're fucking sucking, we're just destroying each other in this car. It was so much fun. I come home, walking barefoot or whatever. The next day, I get up, go to work. I look in the back of my car, and his wallet's on the ground. And I'm like, fuck. Just so happens that he was playing golf nearby at where I was going to be. And so I was like, hey, so we met up. And we've had a lot of fun, a lot of experiences. And so that's how we met. That's been the progression of our relationship so far. It's been really fun to introduce him into this new world, which is the lifestyle. And let's talk about that. So I've been a unicorn in the lifestyle for it'll be 3 years. Actually, oh my God, today is Kat and Am's and I's anniversary. I'm going to text them as soon as this is over. I met them 3 years ago today, October 15th. And I've been doing this solo. So being a unicorn is a completely different, unique experience. And I've loved it. It's been great. But I've talked about it before where it's like, oh, I wish I could go home with somebody, or I can have that, the pillow talk afterward, or relive a memory, or talk about things the next day with my partner. And so that's always been something that's been very intriguing for me. And I will tell you, we're not in Kansas anymore. I am no longer a unicorn, and I've been experiencing and learning the lifestyle in a whole new way, which is, with a primary partner. There's a few things that I have noticed, a few things that have definitely been different. I feel like I need to experience more because we have not done anything other than vanilla events and some hot makeouts. We'll talk about that in a second. But, you know, just learning and evolving with him in this world has been really, really fun for me. I also want to say I have had several significant firsts with him, which is very exciting for me as well. He's so open and just, you know, I feel like, you know, he just matches my fucking energy in every way possible. And sexually, that's a really big thing for me. And so, a lot of fun. Let's talk about the lifestyle. Okay, so I already have this incredible group and tons of friends and you know, a great network where it's safe and I know people and, you know, everyone's vetted and I've known them for 3 years. And so it's been really fun to introduce Mr. Wright to everyone and to see the different dynamics. Another thing that I'm learning is communication with your partner. And it's something that I've always admired about the other couples in the lifestyle. Communication is so huge. And I feel like Mr. Wright and I have like just a deeper level in connection when it comes to our feelings and thoughts and, you know, behaviors around others and just having these open, like real raw conversations. Raw. Anyways, it's been very nice. So for instance, he actually brought it up to me because, you know, I already know everybody in this group pretty well. And he was like, hey, you know, I just kind of felt like when you were speaking with someone, like you kind of like forgot that I was there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And so we came up with our own little way to say to each other non-verbally, hey, I'm here, or I need some attention, or, you know, I want to feel close to you for a minute. And I love that. And we actually used it at the last meet and greet. I think I went up to him and gave my signal, just saying like, hey, you know, I want to reconnect with you right now. And I love that. And then we've just talked about so much, like, how are you going to feel if I kiss someone, you know? And I think we both early on agreed kissing was just not that big of a deal. Not that it's not intimate. And then we also talked about things that we are not going to be okay with. And I think a big one for us is, you know, dirty, like specific dirty talk in bed or holding hands. Like I love holding, when he holds my hands above my head in bed. Or like lots of eye contact. There's certain things that we do together, breathing in each other's mouths are like very intimate. You know, that's not something that we don't want to see with someone else. So anyway, just having these conversations, we haven't done it yet, but we have done, you know, I've kissed others in front of him. And this past weekend when we went to a concert, it was 2 weeks ago, I went to a concert, after party, meet and greets, whatever. And for the first time, so here's how it went down. We were with one of my very favorite couples, and we were hanging out, and I love making out with her. I've talked about her before, played with her at parties, and I love kissing her. So we're like making out at the table, and her boyfriend and Mr. Wright were sitting across from us. And I don't even know how it came about, but you know, she was like, well, I want to make out with Mr. Wright. And I was like, okay. And this is the first time, right? And I'm like, I mean, my heart kind of skipped a beat a little bit because I was thinking, how am I going to feel? Because remember, this is new for me. This is something I've never experienced before. And I have real feelings for him, you know? And they made out in front of me, like right across, leaning across the table. I didn't feel any sort of way whatsoever. Like massive sigh of relief. And in fact, I was like, that's really fucking hot. So then I leaned across, made out with her boyfriend in front of Mr. Wright and her. And then we triple kissed, you know, us three and then the other, you know, couples, we triple kissed together, 2 girls, 1 guy. And it was so much fun. The next night we went to the concert and I think I made out with a couple people and I saw him making out with people, you know, on the dance floor or at the show. And I didn't feel any sort of way, which was such a huge relief for me, right? Because we're slowly navigating this world. And I feel like we're making some connections. I told him, I said, you know, we'll know when it's right. Right now, I'm just so greedy, right? I'm like, I do want to share. Sharing is caring. I know that, but I feel like him and I just need a little bit more time to where we really have a really strong foundation. And I think one of the things that he said is he was like, you know, Adrian, I know the way you feel about me. You know how I feel about you. You know, and sex has always, and this is not to say that like sex is not meaningful. It is, right? It always is. And when you're giving yourself to someone, like that's, you know, I don't care what anyone says, like you're having a connection with that human, right? However, sex is, it's just an act at sometimes with certain people, right? So with Mr. Wright, you know, we're making love, right? Like passionate, hardcore fucking, or, you know, there's feelings there between us. And with people in the lifestyle or couples, like, it's not that we don't have a connection, right? But there's not like those feelings for one another. And so we've been discussing that. We're navigating and learning this world together. And I must say, it feels new to me, you know, like the whole experience feels new to me. And I've also noticed, it's been interesting to me, how definitely for sure some doors have been opened. Like certain couples will come up to me now, talk more because I have a partner. And so that's been very interesting for me to learn and navigate as well. Also, it's been interesting for me because the couples that I was unicorning with, it's different now, right? Like there's the elusive foursome connection. And it's been good, and I'm learning and I'm evolving, and everyone is so amazing in that group. Like I'm so spoiled, it's not even funny. But yeah, so we're not in Kansas anymore. I am no longer a unicorn, and my unicorning experience was absolutely positively amazing. But I'm really, really excited and looking forward to seeing, you know, how we evolve within the lifestyle or not. Like we'll make the decisions as we go. I think a lot of the times people forget you can change your mind at any time. Whatever works for us is what we'll do, right? And experience together. And I'm really excited about him, and it's been a lot of fun. And I just wanted to take a moment to share with you guys because, again, I just feel like I haven't been as open. I haven't been my usual Adrian storytelling self, and I want to get back to that. I want to reconnect with you guys, and I think we're doing that today. I'm getting ready to run out of time, but Amanda will be back next week for Ask Double A. Amanda's not going anywhere. I know you guys love her so much, as do I. However, I do want to, you know, get back to doing some solo episodes and having some other guests on and having that different experience as well, you know, and Amanda and I will be together doing our thing. Maybe we can have a threesome, you know, my first podcast threesome, but not sexually, guys. I know I'm going to get a lot of DMs about that, but, you know, just podcasting and having other guests on and stuff like that. So again, life's been crazy. It's been hectic. I have definitely been doing the most. I'm so happy that you're here and you're following along with me on this journey. It'll be 4 years here coming up in December, and that's just wild to me. I thank you so much for all of the love and all the support. And oh, don't forget, by the way, Tracy's dog has a new toy. It is called OG Pop. You must get it. You know, the fucking holidays are coming up. I'm your girl. Like, I feel like I want to give the whole world toys. I'm even working with Tracy's dog to do a giveaway, so be looking out for that. They also got their first bullet vibrator, so be sure to go to tracysdog.com, use code Cravers20 to get 20% off your entire order. I gotta fit that in, you know. But it's good to be back, and let's see what happens. And I just want to thank you guys for all the support, and I will see you next week. Okay. All right, YouTube. If you're on here, comment. I'm going to be responding back to you guys. It's good to see you, and I'll see you next week with Amanda.